Everyone, and welcome to another episode of Stitching Tales. I am Johanna Lundström, the author of several sewing books, including Sewing Jeans and Fit for Knits, and I also have a YouTube channel, The Last Stitch.
My name is Malena Hjerpe, and I work as a freelance pattern maker, and I also create my own PDF patterns under the name Hazelhen Patterns.
And in today's episode, we talked a little bit about taking the temperature on our respective business and perhaps give ourselves a little bit of a pep talk and business coaching in all its angles and everything like that. Because we sometimes, if you're a long-term listener to us, we definitely have our highs and lows regarding our sewing businesses. And sometimes, it's easy to flounder a little bit and wonder what direction should we go. So you suggested that, Malena, that we talk a little bit more about that, and I definitely feel it could be a good conversation to have, and I hope that you will enjoy getting a little bit on the inside and the realities of running a small sewing business and all that it entails. But first of all, I thought it would be interesting because we haven't recorded for a little bit because we did a batch recording because we had some things going on in our lives, and your thing seemed really nice, Malena, because you left Sweden, right?
Yeah, we took an early vacation and went to Spain for a week. My family and a friend of mine, her family as well. I turned 40 the last of April. Happy birthday to me.
Congratulations.
A couple of days late. Thank you. Yeah, it's been nice. I'm 40 now, not 30 plus anymore. So it's a big milestone.
Yeah, have you felt any different before and after?
No, I don't have any age anxiety, or it's totally fine for me to be 40. I have no problem with that. Maybe it will come later, but no, so far so good.
Yeah, because we have a saying in Sweden before like a 40-year crisis. That's like a saying or a label, where I guess it's a lot of identity crisis, I guess, because then you kind of realize that you're halfway into your midlife crisis, and you're like half in your life expectancy around 80-85, but you don't feel middle-aged, right? Because that feels like somewhere maybe 50, and for me, when because I'm 52, I'm turning 53, then you feel midlife is maybe 60. So you keep pushing that because it's a little bit hard to identify with the fact that in my case I've passed the far way beyond my life expectancy. So I guess that's one of the, and also, am I not young anymore? But you haven't had those thoughts that what is 40 like?
No, but that I was going to say that ship has sailed already. No, but I met a friend a couple of weeks ago, and we went out to a really nice restaurant. And the summer staff, like those who usually are studying and then work during the summer, they are usually, they can serve alcohol, so obviously they need to be above 18 years old. And I was like, okay, that's young. Yeah. We look nothing like them. Do I feel like 20-something? No, they are. You see, like, okay, no, we are not in the same category anymore. And I don't mind. Being that young is like, what should you do with your life? It's, of course, we can have that crisis as well in our age. But no, I'm pretty happy with being like, no, I got my job, I got my house, I got my kids. Like I feel like I'm settled, so to speak. So I'm, if I was in a different life circumstances, maybe then it would be a completely different thing. But right now it's just, I'm just trying to keep up with everything. I don't have time to, think about stuff. It's just ongoing life all the time.
Yeah, it's you're too busy basically to have like an existential like crisis, or I can imagine that. Because I said this to a friend who also turned 40 recently, that to me, the I mean, the difficult part, I think, around the 40s is that I say it's like the decade of exhaustion, because it is a tricky, because if you have kids, maybe you have two kids and they're grown up, it's a very intense lifestyle, and you're often also at the peak of your career and moving forward, so you gotten positions with more responsibilities, there's a lot more stress, and maybe you bought a house. So I think there's a lot of things going on in your 40s, so it's a very intense decade if you followed these kind of steps. Of course, that's not the same for everyone, but I can what I try to remember from my 40s is that I was tired a lot. I was, it was a lot of things going on, and I think that can definitely put a stamp on. But it can also be a good thing, because you're probably too busy to think about, doing too much navel gazing, because life is such a high speed. But also I think being tired is also part of being in your 40s, because you do get a little bit more tired, and you still have so much stuff going on.
Yeah, when did I ever feel rested? It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
a decade ago, maybe. So yeah, it's you get used to being slightly sleep deprived, which is not a fun feeling. But yeah, it is. Things are getting better, and kids are getting older, so they sleep better as well. So I'm looking forward to having a little bit more older kids. That is really, it's such a big change compared to when you have kids below 3-4 years old. It's a huge difference, to be honest.
Yeah. Having really small kids, it's a very intense experience, I think, for everyone. That's no, and I mean, even if you only have one kid, it's still quite an intense experience. And yeah, I mean, for me, I have grown-up kids, but I still do remember that massive exhaustion, and also the fact that it was so hard, because your small kids, they kind of need or want at least your attention pretty much all the time. So it's very hard to navigate, because you don't really have those pockets of rests and maybe they don't sleep at night, and you have to go up really early, and all the logistics, taking kids to daycare, or maybe one is at daycare, another one is at school, and is trying to pick them up at the right time, and then having the energy to cook dinner, and maybe try to keep your home in a reasonable shape, and have freshly washed clothing, and you work full time perhaps. So that there's no wonder that, as you say, it's feeling like fully rested. That feels it's a far away thing when you're in the middle of it, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm so grateful that I can have my own. I mean, since I work as a freelancer, I can work from home. I can decide a little bit when and where, and not how much I work, but because I mean, I obviously want to work full time. But I can. It is within my power. If I would want to, I could also work less. But just the fact that I can work from home, I mean, that's such a huge, game changer. Just family work-life balance. It has helped tremendously, to be honest. But how is it with you? I can still hear your voice is not fully back.
Yeah, because we recorded the episode that is out this week, which we did a Q&A. Thank you so much for all the questions that we got, by the way. I talked about, having a cold, I think, and I said that to your listeners. And that was recorded, I think, about 1.5 weeks ago. And my voice and my cold, which I think is the flu, not a regular cold, it's still ongoing. So it's been quite a bummer, actually. I've had some nice social experience, and I've been hanging a lot with my boyfriend, who also got sick. So those things has been the silver lining but apart from that, it's been a real struggle in the last few weeks. I have a very intense cough, and I've had really bad sleep, and I've been super tired, and I've barely been able to do my part-time day job, so I have no energy for not much else, and I haven't been able to exercise, which is really important to me. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's been not that great since we did the last episode, when I was already pretty much under the weather. Had been for almost a week when we recorded the last episode.
So I can imagine you haven't done so much on your own business during this time.
No, very, very little, very, very little, just the bare minimum. I'm happy that we got out the podcast, and that's about it. And I've also started to redesign my home page, or thelaststitch.com, to make it more like contemporary. And I have ideas, but unfortunately they have not quite been executed in the way that I wished. That I feel like it's been a lost couple of weeks. So it's been a bummer for sure.
I understand. Unfortunately, that's life. It sucks, but that's if you're sick, what are you gonna do? I mean, it is just resting. That's unfortunately the solution. But your website. Let's go into coaching mode. What are you gonna do? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I'm basically just trying to streamline my offerings and make sure that I put the most important things up front. So what I'm doing now is that I'm going to do a better job of showcasing both my sewing courses. I have 2 courses, Denim Mastery and Composite Success. And also I'm gonna make the podcast, because your friend said that we didn't even include a podcast link on our respective websites, so that we fixed. But now I've
you fixed it within a day. I have still fixed it.
You haven't done it?
No, it's on my to-do list.
Welcome to the realities of running a small business when you have so much else going on in your life.
And here, just to interrupt you here, you don't have a blog. How do you say? You have a massive blog, but you don't have a link on it on your upper. How do you say? Menu. I missed that.
Yeah, you're very correct. Yeah, very correct. So I have the blog post on the front page. So you have to go back there, and then you can see the blog where very, very good point. Thank you, Malena, because that's also something I need to fix. And my big issue is that I have so many things, which is a good thing in one way. I have many legs in my business, but I also have too many things to make my website streamlined. But anyways, now I will add, so when you go to thelaststitch.com, you're going to also see a podcast player. I'm going to embed Spotify, so you're going to see the latest episode when you come to the front page, because I feel that's really good to lift. And of course also my books and my sewing patterns and my blog. And I'm just going to I'm going to try to make it even easier to showcase my offerings and my and I also worked on my mission statement. I also took the help of AI a little bit. And that didn't work out too well, because it just I mean, it's so hard to get AI to sound like a reasonable person. I mean, it's so many cliches staple on top of each other, so it's definitely it has a long way to go. I know that you can train AI, so I try to do like different prompts and ask, what is create a tagline for the last stitch, and also expand on the tagline. But I'm gonna try to see if I can pull this up now. Of course, prep work is something you could also do, but why? But anyways, so my current tagline that I'm kind of toying around with right now is modern sewing simplified.
So nice.
Do you think it's okay? What's your take on it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the worst with names and those kind of things. I mean, For like a couple of years, I had I changed my name a year ago to Hazelhen Patterns. So I mean, I'm not the I'm not the expert when it comes to these kind of things.
Yeah, it's really difficult, but that's also when we're talking about this. It's really nice to have your feedback, dear listeners. You can comment on our socials, Instagram and YouTube channel, and of course email us as well as stitchingtales pod@gmail.com, because it is tricky, and
Yeah,
I
you're
feel
too close to it yourself.
yeah, we are. I mean, it's so difficult. It's so difficult to figure out that kind of stuff on our own. But my thought about process about modern sewing simplified is that is kind of where I am at, and I teach a lot of like modern sewing, things that are inspired by garment industry techniques, and more of course a lot with sewing with knits and denim. These kind of things that are a little bit different than what traditional sewing is taught, and what you can see in a lot of like older sewing material, like books and stuff. So I thought about that, and also my mission statement, which I'm going to try to pull up if I'm able to. So that's what I've been working a little bit about. And I'm hoping to finish that page probably this week. I think I'm going to have it live. And then I'm going to work myself back. And also another thing that I'm... because my email list is very important for me, because that's where I drive a lot of my sales. And I have a couple of guides, a cover stitch guide that is now in PDF format, which I feel is very dated, because most people will, of course, download everything on their mobile phone. So I'm going to do instead a mobile, like a web page with that troubleshooting guide for the cover stitch. So where I'm going to, of course, include all the materials, but also videos and things like that. So I'm going to work on like a consumer journey, regardless if you want to learn to sew how to sew jeans, or you want to learn how to sew with knits, or you want to be better at your cover stitch machine. So I'm going to try to like streamline those consumer journeys. So that's my like main thing that is happening right now. But to come back to the challenges that I'm kind of having, is that fact that I feel like I'm kind of stuck in a way. I feel like yeah, I feel like how should I put this? I feel like maybe I'm spreading myself too thin, and I feel maybe that there are so many ways into me, and I don't have the time to do neither well. I mean, I have my jeans sewing, like vertical, and I have my cover stitch vertical, I have my sewing with knits vertical, I have my sewing activewear vertical, and of course general sewing tips as well, and my sewing patterns and everything like that. And I feel like, who am I? I mean, do you know what I mean? I feel like, why would you turn to me? Because I am so many things, so I sometimes feel like I'm neither of those things, and that's kind of my main struggle, is that I've created this 8-legged monster in a way, and I have problems keeping up with all of these, just being one person working part-time at this business, and still not being able to take a full-time salary, despite the fact that I have a lot of different things going on that could provide income.
Yeah, I think that's the main issue for all single company what should you focus on? What is the thing that will make the biggest impact? How should you prioritize your time? Because the lack of time is like, I think the biggest issue for everyone is like, how do you get more time? One thing that I think should be quite high on your priority list is, your YouTube channel that's the place where you have the most following, right?
Yeah, exactly. And where a lot of my audience comes from. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you rhetorical question, because I think I know the answer. Your latest product, your denim course, sewing jeans, have you made a video about it on YouTube?
No, I didn't. I completely dropped the ball on that one. For several different reasons, but yeah, it's totally that is totally true, and I feel like there's something I'm trying to figure, because I feel like that is the low-hanging fruit. The fact that I do have my YouTube channel and that for some reason I do not use it enough. Now, of course, there's a behind-the-scenes way of selling my course. So, for instance, if you watch one of my jeans sewing videos, you can access a sewing pattern guide with a lot of different tools and templates that you can do for sewing jeans. And when you get on that email to get that freebie, then you get an email sequence pitching my course and other things. So yeah, there is a selling sequence there, and that's where I get. So my YouTube channel do have a pathway to jeans, my jeans course. But as you say, I do not have any content, and I don't really share. I used to be, every time I launched something, I did a video about it, as you say, I did a live stream. So I think there's something, how am I going to put this? I still feel like maybe my mental energy, it's become a bigger and bigger hurdle doing YouTube videos, because I have lost the, it's like a muscle memory, that when I step away from it too long, it becomes too much of a hurdle, and I put away I want to produce something. For instance, I want to do a video about how to sew a button fly on jeans, a video tutorial that I want to put on YouTube. But because that's such a massive project, I keep doing nothing. And you suggested we do a live stream about sewing jeans and the jeans course, which we haven't done because I had to postpone it. And then, it was just a thing. And then I got ill and everything. I just lost everything. But so this is, and now we come to the, and I 100% agree with you. There's no argument against it. So my challenge now is both a lack of, how shall I, there's a hurdle that I need to figure out why I can't get over that. And also the fact that I'm back in my day job as well. And that, so I was just this morning, I was like, okay, I know exactly what I need to do, but for some reason I do not do it. And I feel my time is so limited in terms of, and also my energy is too limited for anything that requires a bit more effort, I think. And that is YouTube, for instance, whereas I think I've been good at the email stuff and lately. So yeah, I think it's a combination, but I think mostly it's because I just need to figure out a way of start doing it again, because then I know it will get second nature, and then I will be able to do it. So it's a mental thing I'm kind of struggling with right now.
Yeah, totally understand. And I mean, you have such also production level on your videos. So I understand, like, you don't want to release anything other than perfect.
No,
and
exactly.
That takes, I mean, obviously time and energy to get it that way. But I think you can, I mean, for the jeans course, I think you can have a 5-minute video, 7-minute video. It doesn't have to be long at all. Just saying that it is released, and like here's what it is. It's not a PDF. It's like this online course, and just show what it looks like when you go through it. Basically, what you already have on your website. Basically, go through and show some snippets, and so people can see what it is actually, and how are the videos, how is the learning material being showed. Just that, I mean, going through what is it. 5 minutes, it doesn't have to be anything more massive than that. Then I think you could send out a little hint that in the future I want to do talk more about this. So if there are any pattern designers that are designing jeans, or if you have anyone you suggest that want to come on my show, you can do a more full-on talk about sewing jeans more in depth in the future. But just that 5-minute, hey, I have a course, it's out. That I think that would that's the thing you're gonna see most sales of. Redesigning your website, yes, that will be great for the long run, for the future. But this is the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah, you're very, very right. It's the lowest hanging fruit, and I think it's so. And also, you touched on something else that I feel is the fact that I have also, as you say, lots of opportunities to collaborate more and reaching out and doing things, because I do think I need to, both sell more and grow my audience. I think it's a numbers game in my case, is that due to the fact that I don't really have nailed that part, and also I'm not as active with marketing occasionally. That means that I sit on a lot of opportunities that I could have gathered a bigger audience and garner more sales. So it's a good case in point is what happened when Mimi Gee, which is probably the biggest sewing personality, mentioned my book Sewing Jeans in one of her YouTube videos. And that made a massive impact on the sales, especially in the US, for me for several months afterwards. So again, it goes to show that even though I think, everybody who wants to sew jeans, they can find my stuff, but no, because you cannot expect that. I mean, there are lots of people, and I'm a small fish in a semi-large pond. Even though sewing is not a huge pond, it's still, And also, it's context as well.
And I understand that reaching out and can I be part of your how do you say, wherever they are, if they are on YouTube or Instagram or magazine or whatever, that's one thing, pitching, be part of them, but you have a huge YouTube channel, invite people, ask if they want to come to your channel, then it's on a little bit more on your turf as well. Maybe that's easier. And I think a lot of people would love to be on your platform as well, and then you can help each other instead building
exactly
up
to help each other grow. Yeah, exactly. You're very, very right, and I think it's such a low effort, and especially when you do this kind of, like we are doing the pod, it's not that much effort doing a pod, because it's just basically two people coming together and talk about sewing. So I totally agree with you, and for me, it's just that when I think about all this stuff, and I get a little bit stressed out because I'm back at my day job situation, which I keep talking about, and it's hard because there's things going on, like me mentally, and that all that task switching and context switching and everything like that, and I don't know, but as I gotten older, it's a struggle. It's just everything you say makes so much sense, and there's something like making it harder for me to do that. And especially now, as I said, I've been sick for almost 3 weeks, and it's been like a low point. But I totally agree with you. I think there are so many stones I could turn, and so it's. I love having this conversation because I know that you are right. So I won't argue. I won't argue with you because you're 100% right. I mean, just connecting with a couple of people at the same levels, slightly less known and slightly more known. I mean, all these kind of things. And the sewing community is super supportive, and we all have our things, and we could definitely also, consider, using the pod as another way of building a larger audience by doing collaboration. So we do both have these opportunities. So for me, but if I would give myself one advice, and that's basically get back to YouTube, because that's going to make a massive difference without me having to produce more products, or, as you say, update a website and things like that. I mean, just
I think
sustainable way of doing YouTube videos. I mean, not every week, that's not realistic, but at least getting back to it. I think that is what's gonna move the needle. If I had
and
made
since
one,
you have such a huge library both on your blog and your YouTube videos, doing some like best of videos would be amazing as well for because I mean if you get a new follower, it is quite massive, like it's so much, where should I start, what should I, so it's like, okay, here are the top 5 most popular videos in this category, or here are the top, and links to all of them, here are the top blogs about this category, and just like having those kind of videos, I mean, you don't need to create new content then, you reuse old content that are still very much relevant and useful for for your followers as well, even though if they are not new to you, because I mean going back in other people's library, you don't maybe have time to do that, so having these kind of, here are really great contents that are valued, I think that could be also very low hanging fruit to just
very true. Just like 5 game-changing tips for sewing with knits, for instance. I mean, those are no-brainers, or like 5 tips to hem knits, you know, with a sewing machine. And I've done several of those videos, but I can definitely repurpose and expand upon it. And I just thought about the podcast episode that we did a while back about sewing mistakes, which I think turned out really well. That is such a good way to expand upon, and I could also do a video on that particular topic, just using material that I already have in a way, and so I also think, just as you say, building on the stuff that you had, that could also be in a blog post. And the way we talked about sewing faster, for instance, the last episode, again, lots of valuable information that I could also do and use for a YouTube video, and so there is definitely lots of things to pick from. So I think for me, what you're saying, it's not the ideas, it's just a mental hurdle that I'm still, I mean, it's such a bummer. I mean, I've talked about this for as long as this the history of this podcast, and I'm still not over that hurdle, and I cannot for my life figure out why, because I do enjoy doing videos. I love editing, and I love the concepting, and I love the rush of publishing videos, but it is a hurdle to get over that first step. And I think there's a big link between, I feel like I lost a little bit of momentum with my business, as also when I stopped doing YouTube videos. So yeah, it kind of goes, as you say, there. It's
what is it,
it's
if we dig deeper there, is it showing your face? Because that's, now I'm speaking from my perspective, like for me, I don't want to do videos because filming myself and having to retake that's my biggest hurdle. What's your, like, what do you think, why don't you have the mojo for making videos right now?
Oh, that's a great question. I think it's lots of different reasons. I mean, one is the hurdle of the technical stuff, is that you have to, because I don't have a studio setup, I have to, you know, put out lights and camera and sound and mic setup, and prepping, for instance, you know, taking things. And if I'm doing a tutorial, of course, it's a lot of work. I mean, if I do it where I sit on the desk and just share tips, it's easier, but it's a lot of effort. And I think I have, because I was so productive for several years, I did a YouTube video every week, every Sunday. And then I kind of burned myself out in lots of different ways, which I've talked about in this pod before. I went to a divorce and I moved and I worked, you know, having a day job full time and doing this on the side. So I think for me, there's like a memory of really like pushing myself and forcing myself. So there's a lot of uncomfortable feelings that are attached to making videos. And I do remember the stress, because if I didn't have a video set up, I had to spend like half of the Saturday filming and editing. So my weekends were like cut in half. I felt like I had so much little free time, and and I didn't have much of a social life at that point. So there were a lot of negative emotions attached to the fact that I was able to push out a video every week. And so that I think that's the most thing is I have still lots of negative emotions attached to making videos. Not so much, and also which aligns with what you are saying. I feel comfortable about showing my face, but I feel maybe haven't I already said enough? Why should I make this video? I mean, I've already done 200 videos. There's nothing more to say. That's where I kind of get stuck a little bit too, that I keep second guessing myself. I feel like I don't have enough value to offer anymore because I've already done a video about everything I know and I have nothing left to add. And that makes me not want to do anymore because I feel like there's a critics, internal and external, that will say, but you already done a video about how to hem knits, for instance. So many different reasons, I think.
Yeah, just a practical thing about setting up and for being able to film. I think you have enough material already in your computer that maybe for a couple of videos you don't have to film anything new. I mean, for your video course, or sewing jeans course.
I can do that.
You don't have to film anything new. You can just, is it called voiceover when you just talk?
Yeah, exactly.
You can just show clippets, films, pictures from the course and record your talking. So you don't have to set up anything new in that sense. No. I'm just thinking like how to lower how to make it easier to start working with that
because then I don't have to put out the camera. I just have to plug in the mic, which we only do anyways when I'm doing a podcast.
And if you're doing the top 5 videos, here are links to them. You don't have to do that either. I mean, then you can just do a voiceover and just film it or like record that and show some short snippets from those videos. Like you don't have to make a full production for every single video. No. It's, lowering the bar a little bit.
Lowering the bar. And another, of course, is to go back to live streams, which again requires no effort as well. Because then I just have to set up what we're doing now when we're recording the podcast, basically, and just show things that way. So again, it's a lower barrier to entry. And when it comes to my workflow, what also works for me is to have a batch day when I'm doing sit-down videos where I have to record, is to do several videos at one settings because that's not hard, because then I get going, and then what works best for me is to set up everything the day before in the studio. So when I get to record that day, everything is set up and checked, and all the tools and notions, everything I need to show is all ready. And then, because what happens is when I have to set up everything the same day, and then I'm already exhausted when I need to be the most alert, because in a video, the trick is to be, if you, as a person, you have to find a higher level, because the camera sucks energy. Like, so if you're just yourself, it's going to look a little bit muted. So I'm not saying you're going to be, hey guys, I'm not going to be intense, but you have to have a slight energy around yourself, because it does show when you're not fully present and you need to create engaging content. Which also brings me to that I should definitely also, because Reels is another thing that I've just dropped the ball on completely. Again, such a low effort when you think about it, because I have all these archive materials and I can just do with my face and give some tips, and then, do some B-roll of stuff I already have. I don't have to create from scratch.
But here, like when you said earlier about spreading yourself thin, I think that you could put a pin in a couple of things and I'm not going to do this at all for someone. For example, Instagram Reels. Yeah. Like this, I heard on a podcast episode, I think it was Jenna Kutcher or Amy Porterfield, I don't remember. But they talked about, it was someone who has, no, I don't work with Instagram anymore. She had created a grid or like the latest post. So when you go onto her Instagram page, it becomes like a landing page. Like there was a post for every single product that she had. So new followers instantly see what are you about, but also in the description, like I'm more active on YouTube or mailing list or whatever. So it's like a really great landing page, but you don't have to do anything about it, like having the pressure of constantly adding onto it. It's like, no, do that and leave it for, I don't know, 6 months, 1 year, whatever, until you get more energy to work
more
on.
energy.
Then it's just like a mental thing, like I don't have to do anything about that anymore. I can just leave it. Also, I know that you're not gonna like this, but our next book, I mean, lovely to work on, but focusing on marketing your already existing products at the moment when you are also having a day job, creating new products is not the thing that is gonna make the biggest difference, because that's also a really long project. It's not gonna be out in a couple of months. It's more of a massive project. When we did the Fit for Knits book, I had a period when I said, I'm sorry, we can have catch-ups and talk about it, but I can't do any work at the moment for like the next 3 months. It's just too much with family, my day job, and it was just a crazy period. So I said, like, okay, I'm going to put a pin in my work for that at the moment. I need to take a break. You can do that for this book as well. I'm giving you the freedom to do that.
You're very, very right. And it brings me to something I also thought about, as you say. I mean, I think I would just better marketing and growing my audience also, of course.
For a while, focus on
growing the audience. And those gives, because that is my issue now. I'm not feeling too great about the situation I'm in, and especially it's such a big contrast from where I was a month ago, or when I was 6 months that I felt I had more energy to do all the things, and now as you say, I need to really, really prioritize and putting on a more massive. And also it makes sense, I guess, because when we release our next book, and I also have other book plans from that, and also another sewing course. I have lots of things I want to do in my life and in my business. So having a larger audience when we release our next book is going to be super helpful, because that audience is going to be there for us. So, I mean, it makes a lot of business sense for the future as well, not just for existing products, but also trying to do that. So I think my biggest challenge now is to, first of all, just getting over the hurdle. And also, because what we always talk about is that the things that get on the schedule is the stuff that happens. And when you try to, I'm just gonna, when I feel like I have the time, or when I feel I have more energy, then I'm gonna start doing it. But sometimes the only way to make it happen is that you have to say, okay, I'm gonna deprioritize these things, and then say that, all right, on Fridays, that's YouTube day, and that's what it is. Just like you and I have this podcast, we have a very strict schedule. We keep ourselves accountable. We show up for ourselves and you, our listeners, and we have a system for that, and a work division, everything. It's a great system, and that just simply works. That's why we're able to keep a podcast every week despite all the other things that are going on, and because we make it a priority and have a good system for it. And I think that's just the same for me with YouTube, is my lack of system and my lack of, I pay a lot of lip service. I say I want to prioritize it, but in reality, it's not on my weekly schedule. And because I like to do other things like, working on our next book and doing instructions and illustrations for that, because that's where I feel the most comfortable. Not a bad thing, but I mean, it's
but just a comparison to when movie stars make a film. I mean, that's what they love to do. Do they love going on a press tour, sitting on interviews, visiting podcasts? No, they hate that, but they do it even though they are like superstars, they have millions of followers, they still go on a press tour talking about the movie. I mean, it's a little bit the same thing here with your jeans course or any books or whatever. You haven't gone on a press tour.
No, exactly.
You have talked about it in your own channels. But I mean, even celebrities with millions of followers, they go on other people's shows to talk about their movie, to create buzz and press about it. So yeah, that's the uncomfortable thing.
Yeah,
reaching out to others and talking about your own stuff.
Yeah, so true, so true. We always think that because there's so many people out there, and also for us as well. I mean, we always try to think that we already reach an audience that are already engaged with sewing. But I mean, imagine reaching people that are thinking about sewing and they want to buy our patterns or learn from us in some capacity, or buy our sewing book or a course from mine or whatever. I mean, we have that audience as well, which we kind of also don't always reach, because it's so easy to just, as you say, reach the already existing audience that exists in our little bubble. But what if we could inspire people to start sewing? I mean, then we have this next... and that is, of course, YouTube is an excellent platform for that, because those that are in the beginning stages, they will most likely search for information on YouTube rather than on Instagram, for instance, and it's not going to be Reels, perhaps, but that's going to be like a starting point, and then we could take those people on the journey that maybe they just want to have a quick solution to a simple problem, and they find one of our tutorials or whatever, and then they maybe start thinking about, maybe I should try to do this, and then we have this journey that we can take them on and help those people along the way.
Yeah, exactly.
And to me, because then I feel optimistic, because we have people that we can make into sewing converts, basically join our cult. No, but I'm just sorry.
No, and I think I don't want to say this right now, because I know that you have been sick and the energy is a little bit low on your side, so I don't want to say it, but I'm still gonna say it, like when you're feeling more energetic. Going on a craft fair, I mean, we have in Sweden, we have our own craft fair. Of course, there are bigger one international as well, but just the one that are in Gothenburg. I mean, you have enough product. If you would have your PDF patterns into
printed out,
physical patterns just for the fairs, and with your courses and with your books, I mean, you could have your own stand there. Like, you have enough products to be able to be by yourself there, or if you want to combine it with somebody else, join forces, and it might be easier. But just like Adlibris, for example, a Swedish book reseller, reach out to them and it's like, are they selling your books on the craft fair? If not, they obviously should, and could they have a meet and greet the author there? So I mean, this is when you have a little bit more energy. But like, I mean, this is a great way to reach out to new people and to meet people as well.
Meet people, especially, because also, of course, because being situated in Sweden and creating content on English means that I don't always reach our native audience. I mean, you're absolutely right. I think now the fair here in Gothenburg is early fall, and I don't think I have the time, I think it's already fully booked, but I'm going to make a promise in this podcast that in 2026 I'm going to do the fair, and I'm going to do it. I love it. Yeah, I'm going to do it for sure. It's going to be so good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to do it, and it's definitely, I think it's going to be worthwhile. And we have friends in our circle that have done it, and it's been really exciting and interesting and inspiring, and they also managed to reach other people. So I definitely think that it's doable, and you don't have to do it too complicated. And I also have a sewing friend locally here that we actually had pretty further long plans to do this, and then COVID hit. Right. So me and Tina that Yeah, she's a friend of the pod. She.
If
And
you
I
are going on a
I've
fair,
even,
I will come and join.
Huh?
I will
Thank
come and
you.
visit,
Then we
definitely.
do a book signing for our book and everything. That would be so nice. It would be so nice. We're gonna look into that for sure. It's good. I'm gonna put a pin on it. So hopefully, if you anyone listening that living in Sweden, hope that you will come and meet. They're gonna be. We could do a live podcast on stage. I mean, it would be so fun. Yeah. We're going to make that happen. I would love to do a live podcast. That would be so nice. Yeah.
I'm
We're
getting stage fright already now.
Yeah. I've heard bananas has something that is similar to a beta blocker. It's probably a very low dose, but maybe we can eat a lot of bananas.
We are going to make that happen.
Yeah.
No, but also just I have been to the fairs. It comes to Umeå as well, very small, and then I have visited in Stockholm. I think the general thing about this fair are knitters. I love knitters, no problems with knitters, and they're fabulous yarn, but they are taking over. So the sewing part on these fairs are, I mean, just decreasing, and people are actually selling patterns. Yeah, I mean, they are just being less and less and less. So just the market opportunity here, I think it will be so much appreciated with more patterns, with more sewing focus as well. So I think it's a great opportunity to, and you haven't really, I mean, you have focused on an international audience, which I totally get, but the Swedish audience, I think not a lot of people know you here or that you are Swedish. So just to get out and to the Swedish audience as well, I think that would be amazing. So next year. We make it a promise.
I'm definitely going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. I mean, once I get going, and I've had in my day job experience with setting up events and stuff like that, so it's not something I know I can pull it off. I mean, I know that. Nice to have this. This makes me. I mean, I felt and I also think it's when sometimes you lack the connection. As we work. I mean, we work in small space. We don't live in a sewing community close by that way. And even though we have each other virtually, and I have a lot of other friends that are creatives, you still feel a little bit. You miss the connection with the audience that you have. I mean, the way that we have. I mean, you that are listening, and that lack of energy it's kind of can put a damper on things as well. And being able to meet people and engage with them, it's such an energy boost. Even though, of course, doing a fair is extremely exhausting. Of course.
Yeah. The week after that, you're just going to be in bed, like, mentally.
Yeah. Then we need to have a break because we can't go back to our day job a day after because everything is going to be completely shut down in our brains. But it's also going to be an amazing experience because you get so much energy from meeting people and chatting people and hearing their stories. And so all these things, I feel like that could definitely give me a kind of energy boost that I definitely need. Because I think right now, my biggest hurdle is the lack of energy and motivation. Of course, as you know, I'm also having a terrible cold that I've had for weeks, or flu, whatever. So, I mean, obviously I'm talking from a place now where I feel incredibly unmotivated. but I mean, when I get out of that, I'm definitely have more pep in my step. I mean, this has been so valuable. I realized, Malena, we talked about me now for about 45 minutes. So I think we
can do me another time.
Yeah, we're going to make this a two-parter. So, and I think because we have so much to say about this kind of thing. So if you want to hear Malena's story, we're going to do a separate episode about that, where I'm going to help you, Malena, and see what your next steps are going to be in your business and what your struggles are. But it's been incredible.
It's amazing to be able to also, I mean, I'm using air quotes now, coach somebody else. I mean, you obviously, your business, you have it as a part-time salary. I can't, my PDF patterns are like, you're so much further along, so I'm not delusional that I'm like coaching you how to, like, no, you got this. It's just energy boost you need, and sometimes you are too close for your own things, and you need a little bit other perspective and refocus. Maybe I think your priority number one is get out a video about your video. So
video
course. Video course.
I'm going to do the video about my video.
Exactly.
Very meta.
No, but I think that is like the lowest hanging fruit.
Totally.
You could do. And you can do a short one now, a more elaborate one when you feel like it. But just
when I feel like
something.
Yeah, definitely. Very good advice. And I also have part of it because I have a promo for the video.
You have it already?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's just that it's embedded on my website to promote my course. Because Tina helped me film that, so everything is already there.
You just need to publish. Come on, you have done the work already. Oh my God, get it out.
Yeah,
before the next podcast is released.
World.
It needs to be out.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna make that happen.
Yes,
yeah.
I will.
Good
ask
thing
about
to
this.
keep. Yes, we're gonna have a follow-up about that. I mean, yeah. Thank you for putting the fire behind
the pressure on you.
The pressure is on. Yeah, hopefully, I can definitely make this happen. I mean, it's just that I feel like, okay, I will of course, but the thing is that it won't get that much views, and then you have to feed the YouTube algorithm, and promotional stuff don't get a lot of views, so you have to embed it for helpful content. And so that is the actual reason why I haven't put it out, because the unfortunate thing about YouTube is that almost every video has to be a banger in quotation marks, because then the next video will get more traction. So this is a way that the way the algorithm works, it kind of prevents us creators from doing content
that are not good enough. But now
you are good enough.
Think about it like this. Now you are talking to your subscribers, and they will get like you get notified if someone you are following releases a new video. You are creating a video for that purpose now. It's not going viral on YouTube is your goal. It is just talking to your followers, already subscribers. They are already there. So it's not and what is better, having no video for YouTube or having actually a video for YouTube? I think YouTube is going to prefer a video before none.
Yeah, so you're right. Even though I just get a couple of hundreds of views, yeah, you're probably right. It's just that it's your ego.
The ego can leave the building now.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave my ego. I'm gonna leave my ego in the hallway here at the studio.
Yes.
or down in the basement.
Do that.
Yeah, that's great parting words, and we also, when we're doing these episodes, we'd love to get you, dear listeners, perspective on this, as I mentioned previously, because I think we all are a little bit blind about what we are offering and our strength and where we should head. So if you have any suggestions, also maybe what do you think about our respective brands and our mutual brands, and what makes why do you gravitate towards us? It would be super interesting to know, because I think that would be very, very helpful. So if you would feel inclined to take the time to drop us a comment on various platforms, I think we would be incredibly grateful for that kind of input, because it's so hard to have that. I mean, even you and I, Malena, we know each other so well now that we are a little bit blind to what we do, our respective businesses. So, I mean, getting outsider's perspective on where do you feel like we would head, or where do you feel we would be an interesting proposition to a new audience, for instance, it would be extremely valuable to figure out. Help us figure out.
Take the opportunity. Take the opportunity and make a wish. What should Johanna's next future YouTube videos be about?
Yeah, thank you.
What should she talk about? Make a wish, and she might make it happen.
Yeah, definitely. I think probably will, and we could also turn into podcast episodes as well. So, I mean, it's good to cross-pollinate stuff and doing different takes on it. So
yeah, definitely.
For sure. All right, then. That was a great episode. I'm just about to lose my voice.
But you seem a little bit happier, at least,
I'm
compared to
happier,
the beginning.
definitely happier. Definitely happy. And also now I'm going to have lunch with two of my studio colleagues as well, which I haven't seen in weeks and weeks and weeks due to this sickness that I've had, illness. So I've also just being with them, I feel talking to you, Malena, I mean, compared to my mood when I woke up this morning, it's a massive change. Thank you. Thank you for being there for me, Malena, and also congratulations
course.
again on your
Thank you.
big milestone, your big birthday.
Thank you so much.
All right, then. Thank you so much for listening, and hope you enjoyed this take on what I'm going to do next in my business. I am Johanna Lundström.
My name is Malena Hjerpe. Bye bye.
Bye bye.